Pansy and the Promise, Chapter 3, The Trip Begins. The dust from the wagon wheel rose like little puffs of clouds behind the wagon. Pansy had found a comfortable place near the back where she could lie on soft pillows and poke her head out of the canvas covering that stretched tight over the wagon. As they rode along the trail, she watched as the Captain Mountains grew smaller and smaller in the distance. Tied to the back of the wagon were Jake and Willow, the 2 extra horses Papa brought along. Pansy could reach out to the back of the wagon and just touch their noses, which they did not like, or offer them a carrot, which they did like. Star was having fun running circles around the wagon. They were moving slowly, so slowly that Star could run off into the woods that lined the road and return before the wagon could travel very far. Pansy worried when Star disappeared into the woods, but Papa assured her, saying, "That dog knows more about these woods than we do. He won't get lost. Besides, if you listen, you can hear him barking off in the distance, even when you can't see him." Papa was right. Pansy could hear his screechy, high-pitched bark echoing from the woods. She laughed as she thought how his bark sounded less like a dog and more like a big bird. Only when Star sensed danger would he sound out with a low, rustly voice, like the night the mountain lion had wandered near the ranch house. The family had left the log cabin ranch house as the warm summer sun was rising over the mountains to the east. Pansy didn't know how far they had come, but they had been moving down the road at a steady pace for hours. After stopping by a chilly stream of water for lunch, they had pushed on, and now the sun began to settle down over the distant Captain Mountains, which were growing smaller and smaller behind them. Papa had told the family he hoped to make 15 or 20 miles each day, but they weren't in a hurry. There would be many things to stop and see along the way. He intended for the family to be able to enjoy everything without feeling rushed. About an hour before sunset, Papa began to look for a place to camp for the night. The wagon was filled with supplies, so Papa had built sideboards on the wagon, just the right size for each person to have a single mattress to sleep on. They also had a large tent for sleeping when there was rain. Papa had thought of everything. He had moved Mama's stove into the wagon so she could cook. Under the wagon was a large cage for Mama's chickens. This meant they had fresh eggs every day. They were quite a sight coming down the road. After many miles, Pansy had become used to the sound of travel. It was like an orchestra. There was the clomp-clomp of the horses' feet, the clucking of the chickens, the rumble of the turning wheel on the road, the rattling of the supplies, and then the bark of Star circling the wagon. Clip-clop, rattle-rattle, cluck-cluck, rumble, rattle, roll, and bark-bark. "It is for sure we aren't going to sneak up on anyone," Pansy laughed to herself. Papa found a nice place along the road to camp for the night. Mama started dinner, and Papa gathered wood for a campfire. Then he pulled chairs and a table out of the wagon. It would be just like dinner at home. Before long, they had eaten till they were full, then cleaned up the dishes with water from the stream nearby. As the last light disappeared over the mountain, the moon rose high in the sky. Papa lit the campfire, and everyone sat around the blazing glow of orange and yellow light. "Wonderful dinner, Mama," said Papa. "Papa, will you tell us a story?" Pansy asked. "Well, let me think," said Papa. "There's a story I've been saving for a long time, and I think tonight might be the night to tell you, unless you're too tired and want to go to bed." No, I'm not tired at all, Papa," said Pansy. Papa laughed, along with Mama. "I thought that's what you'd say. Well, okay." Papa settled back in his chair, with the soft glow of the campfire making his face take on a reddish shine. He stroked his beard as he began. Pansy could see the eyes brighten and flash. She had seen that look before. It always meant he was about to share something extra special. He said, with a thoughtful voice, "This is the true story of your great-great-grandmother, Nancy Ross." Have a good night.